What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about the much anticipated review of the VRLA Tech Helios PC that I bought back at the beginning of the year. Before we get into the video, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on your bell notifications so that you're updated anytime that I upload a new video to the page or I go live. It tremendously helps the channel with the algorithm and brings it to light with your searches and things like that. So in this example, if you search the VRLA Tech Helios, the more people that like the video and comment it, the more it's gonna bring the videos to the top of the search page. All right, so first with the quality of the PC, I have to say, I posted an earlier video of the unboxing and then of it running. The PC itself is absolutely beautiful. The case really showcases, like the glass enclosure that it's in, really showcases the graphics card, the RGB lighting, everything, and it really is it's really something to look at. Even, you know, I've had it now again since probably like the beginning of June, and we're at the beginning of August, so I've had it a couple months now, and I find myself even still when I turn it on, it's just really cool to look at and watch it run as the LEDs and everything like that change on the inside. The overall quality of the PC, I would have to say, is pretty fantastic. It really does perform very well. Even when I'm streaming, it can handle Warzone and the stream pretty flawlessly. There's never really any, I mean, there'll be lag because of the internet connection maybe, or the server that I'm on, but you can tell that it's not lag from the PC itself. With the graphics card, there's a couple settings on it. It's right here next to me. There's a couple settings on it that you can go from silent to gaming. So obviously gaming is going to be more of like a high performance type of deal, where if it's silent, the machine's going to run more quiet. I guess I specifically say more quiet because it already runs very quiet. Even when I'm gaming, it's just, it is really a thing to behold. I've never had a computer like this before. And in my other video, I said, you know, I was going to kind of make an investment into this project with this channel and really, you know, spend a little bit of money. And with that being said, I want to say that I probably spent about $4,000 on this PC. I have some more money tied up into the rest of the equipment that I bought, but the PC itself, after kind of, I guess you could say, customizing it, when you go to their page, you can see all the different options that they have. And then electing the upgraded graphics card was obviously a big bulk of. I think on their page, when you look at it, the base price of it is about $2,700. And when they, on their Instagram page, when they posted about the upgraded graphics cards, it was an additional $550 for that, for the Supreme graphics card. No regrets there, by the way. I think that was a good investment to, you know, sure, it was hundreds of dollars more, but considering what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to take this channel, I think it was well worth the investment to have the higher quality graphics card. I forget what the other one was. I think it was just a regular 3080. But again, the computer's on, going back to what I was saying about the noise of it, the computer is on right now and you cannot hear anything. Obviously when I start playing the game and the frames go up and things like that, it makes a little bit of noise, but it's I would say it's probably as loud as your ceiling fan. It doesn't really, unless you got some old bougie ceiling fan where the bearings are like, I think everybody's had one of those fans. But again, I would say it's probably about as loud as a ceiling fan. It's very quiet. And I really couldn't be happier enough with the product. With that being said, I'm a firm believer in, I don't want to sit here and bash a company that is maybe smaller, is maybe just starting up, and maybe haven't really fine-tuned their business model yet, or their machine, I guess, how, you know, their operations, how they work and things like that. Now, with that being said, on my last video, I had a lot of comments about, was it worth it, this or that. The product itself, again, is fantastic. I have zero regrets in the money that I spent. What is frustrating is unfortunately the lack of customer service. I will tell you, I ordered my PC, it was like January 9th. And and when I ordered it, there was a disclaimer on the page that basically said we're backlogged about 7 to 8 weeks. Totally fine, okay? 7 to 8 weeks came and went. I think I sent them an email on like the 9th or the 10th week being like, okay, you know, like what's the status? Didn't really hear much back. Sent them, I want to say, a couple more follow-up emails before I even got anything back. And it was very vague, my answer, or the answer that was provided to me of, you know, oh, well, we don't really know. We're waiting on from what I was initially told, it was your PC is completely built with everything except for the graphics cards, which unfortunately come from China, and then with everything with the coronavirus, you know, it just made it, there was a tremendous delay, I guess, in everything coming, you know, from overseas. So then I got to a point where I would let a couple weeks go by and I would email them again. Same thing happened where I'm not really hearing much back. Then I messaged their Facebook page, I messaged their Instagram page, I went on their website and looked for any email that I could. I think it was just like a sales email or something like that. I tried to email them, say, hey, you know, I'm just trying to touch base, what's going on? Because nobody was replying to the first email. And I got nowhere. Then on one of their posts one day, I saw where that was when they announced the upgraded graphics cards, that if you wanted to, you could do that. So I emailed them, obviously, because they're like, well, we have these in stock right now, first come, first serve. So I'm like, you know, I wanted to launch this channel, and at this point, I'm like 6 months, you know, into this goal, and I need the one thing that's preventing me from moving forward is the PC. So I'm like, okay, again, another reason why I spent the extra couple $100 on it. A desperation. So I sent them an email basically saying, because it listed, here's who you email. So I sent them an email and nobody ever got back to me still. And then so finally, I think like another week went by, and I'm looking at the post and I see a couple people comment. And so I asked one of the people commenting, hey, you know, like they had made a comment that it took them about 30 times to call before somebody answered the phone and they were able to get a hold of somebody. And so I asked that person for whatever, you know, the specific number that they called. And when I tell you I had the exact same problem, I mean, it was no exaggeration, where I almost want to like pull my phone record to show that there was no exaggeration. I literally had to call like 30 times, and I didn't want to be like a Karen or anything like that, but at the same time, considering the amount of money that I spent in this investment, like, you're telling me that you can't answer an email or a telephone call. Like, and that, again, that's what frustrated me the most. I have no problem waiting and being patient if you're talking to me, but when I'm asking you a question about something that I've spent my hard-earned money on, you know, I would like a response. Even if you tell me, hey, it's going to be another couple weeks, hey, it's going to be, if you told me that 2 or 3 times, okay, still understandable, but I was getting nothing. And it was really starting to get to me. And so when I had finally called and got a hold of somebody, they told me, I think they initially had quoted the upgrade for the graphics card to be $450, right? And so I said, you know, I'm gonna have to think about it. That's a lot more money. Run by the wife, aka the warden. And I think a couple days went by, and I called back, and I said, hey, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Send me the invoice. And they said, okay, well, it's gonna be $550. And I'm like, a couple days ago, in an email, I think the person had emailed me. Her name was Nicole, I believe. In an email, said it was going to be, you know, $450, and now you're telling me $550. So now I went from being frustrated to now feeling uncomfortable. Like, okay, now I'm just being taken advantage of. Where that probably wasn't the case, but again, from a customer point of view, with this amount of time, with what I was being told, the lack of transparency from them, I really felt like I was almost being taken advantage of. Like, okay, you know, we got you. We know that you really want this bad, and we told you $450. Now it's $550, right? So, ended up speaking to the office manager. I forget what her name was, because I was like, oh, this is kind of ridiculous. Here, I've already spent so much money. You told me one price. I have it in writing, and now you're telling me a different price here a couple days later. Like, this isn't right. And this is your salesperson telling me this, right? So they should know kind of what's going on. And to be honest, all they came back with was this is the price, whether you like it or not. You know, it's $550. So I'm like, okay, what's another $100? So I do that, and they said once you pay for the invoice, the PC is going to ship the same day. You should have it within a week, which is exactly obviously what I wanted to hear, especially after spending so much money. So sure enough, I paid the invoice, and later that day I got the shipping information. And when I was talking to them and said, okay, send me the invoice, I said, well, how is the package going to arrive? How long is it going to take? Does it have to be signed for? And I was told yes. With a package that's, again, you know, over $4,000 realistically spent. They said, yeah, it's going to come FedEx, and somebody has to be there to sign for it. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. The week goes by. I think I was working or something like that. FedEx just drops the package off at my door and walks away. Now, obviously, that's not on the company. That's on FedEx. But what bothered me is that I sent them an email saying, FedEx just dropped this package at my door. Nobody's here to take it. Nobody signed for it. On my email from FedEx, it says that it was digitally signed for, and there was some code on there. There's no signature. And, you know, like, what happens if I come home and the PC's not there, right? So I'm kind of like freaking out. Nobody ever got back to me again. So that was another really frustrating moment. I got home and it was still there. I brought it inside, no big deal, right? But in the last year or so where I live, there's been people that have broken into cars and things like that, like in the middle of the day, not even at night. I mean, it's been at night too, but it's also been in the middle of the day. So it's a little, you know, made me super uncomfortable that here I have this $4,000 piece of equipment that's sitting at my front door that was supposed to be signed for, and it was just one more thing, right? So I get home, it's there. I had already emailed them, and like a month and a half went by. And I followed up with them again for this video because I wanted to know some of the specifics of what was in the computer, which, funny enough, I didn't write down before I started recording this. About like the RAM, like certain things that were in my invoice. I couldn't remember how I built my computer, and it's not in the invoice. And from what one of the ladies told me as I get into this next part of the conversation, it should have been, and it wasn't. So finally, again, I emailed about, you know, no signature, and then I emailed again, hey, can you give me the specifics of my PC, kind of like in writing, because it wasn't in the invoice. Still nobody got back to me. So I had to, unfortunately, do the same thing again with the telephone. So I had to call, it was less times I had to call this time. It was probably about 10 times before somebody were to pick up. And you know, when you dial the number 2, when you press 1, if it goes to an automated system, that means that they're just forwarding the line to whatever. Basically, it's going to say, we're handling other people's calls right now, call back. But if you press number 1 after you dial their number, and I don't have the number in front of me, and it starts to ring, that means that their phone's ringing and somebody should be on the other line getting ready to answer it. So that's how I would know. I would call, and as soon as I hear the automated thing, I would just hang up and then call back. Total Karen move, but whatever. You know, I spent a lot of money on this. And so finally, I get the office manager on again, and you know, I said, you know, what are the specifics? What's the power supply? Blah blah blah. And she said, well, you should. She started to kind of get a little iffy with me. Well, you should have this. And I'm like, what do you mean I should? And she's like, yeah, if you did the upgraded graphics card, you should have an upgraded power supply. And, it was kind of concerning because I'm like, there should be no should. If I paid for you told me it was $450, then $550 for the nicer graphics card and the upgraded power supply that is required to operate this graphics card, then that should be in there. There should be no should. That is what should be in the machine. So lo and behold, I open up the side panel and it's the wrong power supply. So now here I paid the $550 extra to have the nicer graphics card, to have the upgraded power supply, and it's not even what I paid for after 6 months of waiting, right? And it was still messed up. And funny enough, this was the same office manager that I talked to who had told me, the price is the price, pretty much. So at that point, excuse my French, I pretty much told her, like, this is bullshit. I could have gone out and bought a car with what I paid for this computer. This is what I had planned to do with it. And it's just been one delay after another and just a total ball drop with the customer service here. And it's just like, I was referred to them by a friend, and even the friend at that point had regretted referring me to them, because really, even though this is a very nice product, everybody's got the same stuff. I could get the same exact build from any other computer company, right? So what's gonna separate these companies is their customer service. How well do they cater to their customers, especially when you're spending as much as you are, right? This is not, even though this is 2021, this is a chunk of money that I'm essentially rolling the dice on. This is an investment, right? So I realize that this could just be and not even, it might not pan out to be anything, and then I'm at a loss, right? But that's my risk. But at the very least, you could provide a certain level of customer service. When someone spends $4,000 as a first-time buyer on a single product, and they call to ask a question, you should be picking up the phone. If they send an email, which is the easiest thing to reply to, you should be replying to the email. There's zero excuse. Now, again, they said that they're a small company, that they're overwhelmed with everything going on. I totally understand that. But again, if you have a salesperson that's looking at an email, all they have to do is just go down the list of emails. And she even told me, oh yeah, I see where you sent the email, and no one ever replied. So, it was just super frustrating. Now, once it was brought to light that the wrong power supply was in there, my immediate concern was, is the graphics card compromised? Because as well as this thing runs, and it runs very well, there are times where I notice, like, because I'm so close to it, it's literally right outside the camera view. It's like, it's right there. I'll start to get hot and things like that, and that's just because it's sucking out all the hot air from the graphics card and kind of pushing it into the room. And this room doesn't have a fan in it. But I have the thing on there that says how hot the PC is, and I don't think it's ever exceeded like 67 degrees or something like that. Maybe one time it hit 70. But I don't know dick about any of this type of gear, how sensitive it is. I don't know if it's supposed to be running at 60 degrees and it's been at 66 the whole time. And from what I was told, the power supply helps manage that heat in some sort of, capacity. It does play a factor. And again, when I got when I upgraded the graphics card, I was told, well, the difference between the lady pretty much said, well, the graphics card alone is $450, but the manufacturer recommends that this is the power supply that you need to make sure that everything is running correctly. So again, my huge concern was, okay, is the graphics card damaged? Then I kind of jumped through the hoops with them of, no, it shouldn't have affected it. I told them the temperatures. They said, no, that should be fine. And then I said, okay, well, how do we do this now? Where do we go from here? And they said, okay, well, you pretty much have two options. You can mail us back the PC, or we can mail you the new power supply. Again, me being, I don't know anything about computers. right? I don't know anything about the components inside them. I'm the guy that looks at the fancy lights and is in awe, like, ooh, look at the lights. So removing anything out of here myself, I felt like, okay, if I screw this up and I do something wrong, I plug something in the wrong way, I don't plug something in, if I screw anything up at that point, if the PC it gets messed up because of what I did, now it's my fault because of their initial error, and I tried to fix it myself. Now it's my fault. And then, in getting in the conversation about mailing the PC, they said if you mail the PC, you would have to take out the graphics card because we don't want to risk the graphics card getting damaged in transit, right? So when this comes to you, and if you've ever seen one of their videos and how they ship it, everything's inside, and then they put like a bag of like foam or something that expands. So everything is like really locked tight. Again, look at my previous video and you'll see exactly what I mean. Everything's in there and it's not moving. Obviously, that's not going to be the case if I mailed it back to them because I don't have that type of shipping supply, whatever. Not that I probably couldn't get it at FedEx or UPS, whatever the case may be, but that's just another, like, I shouldn't have to do it anyway, right? Like, why couldn't you get it right the first time? So what they ended up doing to make it right, they ended up refunding me the $100 for the power supply, and they mailed me the upgraded power supply. So now what I have to do, I've been out of town and just kind of all over the place the last week or so, is I have to call them, and they said that like their senior tech, whatever, is going to run me through removing the old power supply and putting the other one in. So kind of, I guess, in conclusion of this whole rant over the last 10 minutes or so, the product is phenomenal. There are zero regrets in the money that I've spent on this PC. The customer service, horrendous. Hands down horrendous, right? The overall experience, I should say. Did this company try and make it right? Yes, they did. They gave me the refund for the power supply and they mailed me the new one. So essentially I got it for free, right? So in a way to kind of turn things around, did they do that? In a way. They definitely did make it worse, let's put it that way. And they are, they did try and make it better as much as they could. And the lady did end up, the office manager did end up telling me that the person that was kind of in charge of all of that, of all the sales and everything like that, so if you're calling the number, you're sending emails, that person actually, they don't work for them anymore. So I don't know whether they quit or they got fired. So they're actively trying to, be better. And the couple times that I've called after that, the phone was answered, much faster. So that was a little promising. Would I order a PC from them again? At this time, I would say I'm probably undecided. I still need to call them back and have this tech support guy walk me through installing this power supply. And maybe that will give me a better taste in my mouth about the experience, how thorough they are. Is it going to seem like they give a shit about what I'm doing? And are they going to put me at ease with everything that's going on? Seems like, I'm sure it's a very simple thing to swap out a power supply. But again, for somebody who has absolutely zero experience in any of this with such an expensive piece of equipment, there's a certain level of pressure there that I'm uncomfortable with doing it. And I feel like I shouldn't have to do this, but it is what it is, right? So with that being said, for the people that are asking, would you recommend these PCs? For the PC itself, yes, I would absolutely recommend. I love this computer. It has exceeded every expectation about how fast it runs, how efficient it is, how good the quality of it is, both physically in appearance, and again how well I'm able to run a stream. And right now I've been pretty much streaming almost every day, and the video captures of it, all of it's high quality. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about the product itself. Unfortunately, the issue that you're going to have if you go with VRLA Tech, or at least that I had at the time, was with the customer service. It was definitely lacking, and it seems like, again, it hasn't gotten worse, and it seems like it has gotten better. Is it at where it should be? I don't know. Again, from what I can only go by what they say. They're a smaller, newer company, and they're trying to build up. They're trying to build up their employees, and with everything going on in the world right now, it's difficult, which I get. So I would say if I'm recommending them, I don't know. Unfortunately, that's the best answer I can give you. Go with your gut feeling. Watch this video. If you see any other reviews about their products that are maybe catching your eye, then go with it. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you not to. And if you see another company that I can't tell you that I've seen other companies out there. You're going to pay more money for less. You are. So you have to make that decision for yourself. Do you want to spend more money? And you're more than likely, you're still going to have to wait. Because I want to say Zidix, Z-I-D-I-X? No, X-I-D-A-X. It's the one that Zlaner uses. While I was still waiting for this, I actually messaged them and said, I want Zlaner's PC. What is that going to run me? And it was significantly, I was surprised. It was actually significantly less, but it was less of a I think he's upgraded PC since then. But at the time they were telling me like the graphics card, I forget what it was. It was like a 3060 or something like that. And it seemed older, but his build was about $1,700. But he runs a gaming PC and a streaming PC that are separate from what I know, where I'm just kind of doing everything at once. So I want to make sure that I had that power there to kind of back up all that. So again, not to keep going in circles, you got to make that choice for yourself. You might pay more money for less, and then what's customer service worth to you when you're spending that much money? To me, it makes a difference. Like I want to feel, customer service makes you feel confident in what you bought, and that really shook me up a lot more than it should have. It shouldn't have been that difficult to get a hold of somebody. Anyway, with that, and moving on. Last couple days, maybe a week, I've been thinking about a giveaway. So stay tuned for that. I'll be launching a video here. I would say in another week or two. I'm still thinking about what to do. I made a post on my Instagram earlier. So if you're watching this video, you can comment in the video about what you'd like to see in the giveaway, or you can go to my Instagram. It's the same handle, jmaggie6138. Across all platforms, it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, pretty much any social media platform. I'll be announcing the giveaway video here in the next couple weeks. If you enjoyed today's video and review, give it a thumbs up. And if you would have liked to see something different, leave me a comment. Or if you liked what you saw, leave a comment. When you like the videos and you leave comments, I always try and reply back to everybody as quickly as I can. Sometimes for whatever reason, I don't get the alerts on my phone. I don't know if it's just bad reception. But when you like the video and you comment and stuff, it boosts the algorithm. So again, as I mentioned before, if you search something like VRLA Tech Helios, it's gonna bring the video up to the top of the search. I probably will do a follow-up review on the PC, and maybe I don't know. It would be a while just to kind of keep you updated on how well it's still running. Probably a couple months at the very least. How well it's still going, is it still quiet, things like that. Considering what I'm doing with it, kind of seems like a lot with the stream, video capturing. That's eating up a lot of space and things like that. This is the upgraded power supply that they sent. 850 watt gold power supply. The other one is a 750. I don't know if it's gold or just standard, but yeah. So that's the video. Again, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the bell notifications so you know the next time I'm uploading a video like the giveaway, okay? Again, I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below, and stay tuned for another video. Thanks, guys.